You guys are in for a treat on this video. Looking back at it, it's funny. The table that I was at in the morning was not an easy table, not what one bit whatsoever. There was another professional at the table, PLO professional as well, and then there was one or two rec players who were frequent, you know, poker players. They probably played just as much as the other pro and I, and then there was a couple like really splashy whales. So the table was really, really hard to get off of to go play a tournament because you could literally have an opportunity to win a ton of money. And you're going to see one of the craziest hands I've seen in a while on that table. It's the last video here, but enjoy the video, guys. Appreciate it. Again, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. Definitely helps out the channel. Check out the merch store on our Etsy site, as we've got a bunch of different things there. And as always, play smart and run like a god. The first hand that we're going to look down at is what I call a good tournament hand, sometimes not a good cash game hand. But Ace King Queen 7 is good enough for me to raise it to 25 bucks on the button. And it looks like we're going to go 5 ways to the flop, so the pot's going to be 125. Now, that's something I don't mind, especially having 3 high cards, 3 Broadway cards. The reason why I say this is a good hand for tournaments is because a lot of times your kicker with aces come in handy. But when the board comes Queen 7 deuce with 2 clubs, I realize, oh my god, I flopped top 2 pairs. So the only thing that should be calling me here is probably like a club draw. So I'm going to charge my opponents quite a bit. I bet 110 bucks. Now my first opponent's going to the take. He decides to lay it down. The second guy, he's going to just decide to rip it all in. So he's all in for a little bit more, like an extra 60 bucks or so. And another gentleman behind him, he's going in the tank a little bit, and he decides, what the heck, he's going to call too for 160. Well, it gets back to me, and I can't reopen it, so really the only thing I can do here is just call. So, of course, I go ahead and call, and we're going to go ahead and we have a $630 pot now that's brewing. And one player is all in. The other 2 of us are on the side for any additional action. Turn is a brick. 4 of hearts. That's about as brick as they can come. So when it comes to me, I say pot, 630 bucks. At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm ahead of both opponents. I'm not really sure what the all-in player has. I thought he had clubs. I'm not sure what this player has. I thought he was floating me with like just a queen. But now he decides just to jam it all in for basically an extra $300. So I'm like, all right, well, here's an extra 300 or 420 bucks, whatever it was. I put it all out there to get him covered. So the total pot's 2460. And right now I'm like, rip it once, because again, they're all asking, do you want to run it once or do you want to run it twice? Figure a multi-way pot, plus there's a big side pot. Might as well run it once. Now, what's funny is these guys are asking each other what each other has. And one guy says, I just have a pair of queens. The other guy says, I'm just on a club draw. So right now, I'm actually ahead if one guy has just a pair of queens, because he probably has a similar hand of me, like ace king or ace queen, something like that. And all I have to do is dodge clubs here. So I'm feeling really good about my hand. River bricks out of 10. I turn over queens and sevens. That's actually good enough to win the side. The gentleman who was all in previously had ace queen 10 and river at a bigger 2 pair, so he's going to win the main. But we still end up being profitable in that with the huge side pot. So this hand that we look down at, 7, 9, 10 jack with the suited 7, 9 of clubs. I love hands like these. These are good rundown hands. We're going to 3-bet it to $60 pre-flop. And yeah, this is definitely a 3-betting hand, particularly if you're in position or if you are deep stacked. Now, in this situation, I think I have like another 1,500 behind because I do have a pumpkin on my card. So we are officially deep stacked at this point. Now, here's the crazy part. I did 3-bet to $60. The reason why we haven't gotten to a flop yet is because we don't have 1 caller. We don't have 2 callers. We don't have 3 callers. We don't have 4 callers. We have, you heard it right here, we have 5 callers. So we are going 6 ways to the flop. Oh my goodness. And the board is 4-10 jack. Now this is a very draw heavy board. We flop top 2 pair. We do have a gut shot straight on the bottom. We know our straight's never going to be good, but we're going to bet the top 2 pair. So we lead out for 150 bucks. Opponent jams all in, and it's going to get back to me. And this is real time here. This is how quickly it happened. I went ahead and snap called. We said, let's go ahead and run it once. Dealer go ahead and puts out the 3 of spades on the turn, 4 diamonds on the river. He turns over the nut spades. Almost felt like a quick way on how to lose $640. Now, so this next hand, we look down at ace, queen, 9-8 with the queen 8 of spades. Now, this is a hand that we get a little cheeky, I guess a little bit out of line. It's $60 pre-flop, 4-way action. Flop comes queen, jack, 7. So in a hand like this, we flop top pair, gutter ball. We flop a lot of 2-pair draws. And I just said, you know what, this is pretty decent to favor my range. I was basically betting that this is a range advantage. So if I fire out $100. It's about a half pot size bet. Even if I get called, I don't mind getting called. If I get raised, there's a lot of scenarios in which I can call. But again, I'm betting my range advantage. Now my opponent decides just to rip it all in, and this is not exactly what I wanted because now it folds back to me. But I'm like, it's like $300 to win like 700. So yeah, I'm calling now because even if he's got like aces, and we agree to run it one time, he ace of spades gives me top 2 pair, and he actually turns over pocket aces. So he's going to end up winning this one. I thought I sucked out on him. Maybe he had kings, but yeah, he ends up scooping. Looking down at this next hand, we are going to take a look at 10 jack, queen, king with the king high of spades, king jack of spades. So we like to raise it to $25, and my friend over here is going to 3-bet. Now he has only 3-bet when he's had pocket aces. Every time he's 3-bet, he's always had pocket aces. He doesn't 3-bet with anything else. So at this point, I can choose to 4-bet him knowing that I'm going up against pocket aces, or the fact that he's exposed basically half of his hand. I can call and see if I can suck out on him. So I go ahead and call. So we are going to go, I believe it's 5 ways to the flop here for $70, if I remember correctly. But we're very multi-way. If I was him, I would not be liking my hand with aces. But yeah, we go 3 ways to the flop, pardon me, for 65 bucks. And yeah, the board comes ace, 10, 4, but they're all spades. I check the nuts. And I started doing this because, and a lot of times when you want to get paid off, you have to check the nuts on the flop. And then if you bet, sometimes you'll get paid off by a queen high spade. So when the turn comes the 8 of hearts, I'm like, all right, now I'm going to get paid off here. I'm going to bet 150 because if somebody does have like a queen high spade, or even if they have a 9 high spade, they're going to call a lot of times. Now, one player decides to call, and he's basically all in. And then the gentleman who has pocket aces decides to call. Now, if he's playing against a lot of other opponents, if the board pairs, he might get paid off. But against me, if the board pairs, he might get $5 from me, but he's not going to get a penny more. Particularly because he has 3-bet his hand pre all the time with aces. So the river comes to 10 of diamonds. I am ready to fold it. When it comes, I just check it. He reaches for chips. I say, I'm going to save you time. And I show him the king high, and he takes it down. Some days you can do everything right, and the card gods will not reward you. That happens from time to time. So here's a hand that we look down at ace, ace, 7, deuce with the ace, deuce of clubs. Now this hand goes absolutely bonkers because now we're 4-betting it pre for $260. So we had a 3-bet, a raise, a 3-bet, and then it got back to me, and now I'm 4-betting it. We get one player who goes all in for a little bit less and calls. And this table, when you have a table like this, that's this juicy of a game, these are the best tables to be on because you can buy in for 200 and run it up to like $7,000 or $8,000. We get another player who calls, and then the player who 3-bets me surprisingly gets out of the way. Now it's funny because at this point I'm calculating how much is in the pot, and I'm like, there's like $800 in the pot, and I notice I have about $400 in my chip stack. So because I know that I have a 1/2 to 1 SPR, it doesn't matter what the flop comes, even if it's like all diamonds, or all spades, I'm still going to call because I don't have enough of chips behind compared to what's in the pot. So basically, I'm going to call $400 to win 1,200. So I'm getting 3-1 on my money. So even if my equity is like 33%, I should still do it. But oh my God, the flop actually comes really favorable for us. 3 of clubs, king of clubs, 9 of spades. I'm like, yeah, even if the guy's got a set of kings, I'm still 50% equity. So I go ahead and rip it all in. Gentleman decides to call me. He obliges. We say we're going to go ahead and run it once. Another guy who folds says, oh my God, I folded 10 jack queen with clubs. I said, that's gross because I have aces here with clubs. I said, but I really need clubs. So the turn comes a 10 of hearts and the river comes out a deuce of spades. I turn over aces and surprisingly we're good. And the thing is you might criticize my opponent for calling here, but if he had a hand like king, queen, queen X or king, jack, jack X, he's probably making the right call with the based on the stack to pot size ratio behind. So this is the part that I love about pot limit Omaha is everybody can do something things right with their equity, and you end up with a winner and a loser, and no one played the hand wrong. Now, this last hand here was something of amazement that I haven't seen in a really long time. My hand is 8-8 Queen King double suited, and this is when things just go a little wild. We have a $25 raise, and now we have a re-raise. This is all pre-flop. Now we have another raise. I think we're at 135 pre-flop or 130 pre-flop. And I'm sitting here going, "Oh my god, yeah, this table's crazy." So I go ahead and call, and the gentleman to my right obviously calls. So we're gonna go to the flop like this is crazy. I think it's 6 ways for 135 pre-flop. And oh, it's more than 135 because the guy behind us is now all in pre-flop for I think it's like 280. I want to say it's $280 pre-flop. And now we're like, oh my God, well, we're already in there for 135. I mean, one bad call deserves three, right? But this is when you know you're playing bingo. But we do have large enough stacks in order to play bingo with. So I'm okay with calling here. I mean, pocket eights with queen king. So yeah, it's 280 pre-flop. The gentleman to my right cuts out 280. Now what I'm debating is can I fold any flops? Because now when we go 285 ways, basically there's $1,400 in the pot. And after I put in 280, I'm going to have about 600 behind, maybe 700 behind. So I figured, yeah, there's some flops I can actually fold. So I just elect to call here. But I'm not planning on folding too many flops. Um, especially if they have diamonds in there, especially if there's an 8 or a king or a queen. So surprisingly, five ways for 280, and we still have lots of chips left. And the flop's going to come out pretty decent. 10 deuce deuce with 2 diamonds. Oh my word. First player checks. I decide to check. I'm planning on calling a lot here, uh, being that I have a middling pair and a diamond draw. And next player gets back to him and he decides to rip it all in for $130. Now, first player calls, player on the button, you can see him right there with his hands. He calls. The next player calls. And at this point, I'm definitely calling. I'm really hoping an 8 peels off. An 8 peels off, I'm going to look like a mad genius. If a diamond peels off, I'm going to feel okay about calling off my whole stack. King or a queen, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do here, but I'm getting the right odds. I mean, $135 to win a $2,100 pot. Yeah, this is the thing that like dreams are made of. This is amazing. But let's see what the turn brings. The turn is a 9 of spades. Well, it gives me a gut shot. This guy to my right just jams all in for 1,000. All right, sir. That really looks like he had pocket nines. Oh my God. And this guy could turn over pocket nines in this situation. I mean, hell, I'm sitting here with pocket eights. And so I'm gonna lay it down. And it's gonna get back to my friend across the table. He's in the tank. now for over 2 minutes. Rightfully so. And he calls him, and he makes the amazing call. He has 9-10 Jack, and he's actually good right now. He's up against 9 ace of diamonds, and the river is a 4 of hearts, and he's got 9 ace of diamonds with pocket fours. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. There goes a $4,100 pot on a 4-ball. The guy makes the best call I've seen all year, and he does not get rewarded.
So at the end of the day, on the morning session before the $500 mix PLO, that game was wild. We are in for 2,000. We are out for 750. Yeah, we're in for 2,000, out for 750. So we end up losing about 1,250. You know, when you play poker for a living like this, it's one of those things where you hate to lose, but there was literally opportunity to win 4 or 5 grand there, and I just had a couple of bad runouts, as you guys saw. So sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, but I'm determined to still have a positive day, as we're going to go fire our first bullet in the PLO mix. Now, this is one last time I got 4th on, so I'm going to play my A game. Got about 30 minutes before registration. I'm probably going to meditate a little bit ahead of time, get a little relaxation in before. But yeah, so in for 2,000, out for 750. The action here at Hollywood is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you're looking for a good PLO place, this is definitely a very good PLO place, particularly for PLO 4. So play smart, everybody. Run like a god.